Hey guys, Liza Hudson from ConversionWise here, and welcome to another free landing page audit session. So as always, before I jump into the pages of the day, just a couple of announcements. If you are new to our channel, welcome. And if you are not a member of our Facebook group, the Conversion Rate Community, you can either head on over to Facebook and search facebook.com/groups/ConversionWise, or underneath this video, you will find a link. You can just simply click there and ask to join. This is a completely free group. In here, you're going to find loads of useful tips, tricks. This is where we make all of our announcements. It's just a really great community to be a part of. And of course, if you'd like to see one of your pages on these sessions, this is also where you will need to come. And of course, if you are currently joining us from the community and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you click subscribe and the notification bell. That way, every time we drop fresh content, you guys will be the first to know. Now, in here, there are so many how to create the perfect pages, where you need to put things, why, great interviews, all kinds of different content here. Everything here is designed to help you guys to increase your conversion rates. So for those of you that haven't been here before, what I'm about to do is go through 4 pages that have been dropped into the community over the last week or so. And I'm going to go through them properly for the first time today. I'm going to go through each of these pages and I'm going to pull out on some areas, give some very actionable feedback that can go away, implement, and you will see an uplift on your conversion rate. Now, I always get very excited on these sessions because we do always get such good results with these. And of course, if it's not your page that you're seeing here today, everything that I'm saying is going to be able to be applied to your sites as well. Now with me, I've got my 2 trusty tools. The first one, as soon as it loads, is builtwith.com. This is just a little tool that's going to show me what you guys are using to create your sites. The other one that I have is tools.pingdom.com. This is the free version, guys. So you can just go on here and get a good little page speed test. Again, page speed is a really crucial conversion element. So it's super important that you make sure you are optimizing for speed. So again, for those of you that haven't kind of watched our content or don't know kind of what we do, sorry, all of these pages are for some reason just loading. Here at ConversionWise, we work to lots of conversion design principles. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth because there's other videos here that will do that. But one of the main ones, and this is the one we're kind of going to follow today, is called the ADA principle. Now, what that means is that above the fold, so before we need to scroll any further, you guys are going to capture your consumer's attention. As we start to scroll through your page, we are then going to pique their interest. Goodness me, running through some hoops here. We'll then create desire, and then we're going to end on an action. So that's the A, the I, the D, and the A. And this format should be applied to all of your pages, whether it's a home page, a product page, a standalone sales page, or a lead generation page. So those are the key things. So let's have a little look. Looks like this is going to be a WordPress WooCommerce. Okay, that's cool. Love WooCom. And let's have a look at the speed. So 2.59. It's not horrendous, but there is room for some tweaks here. Now, again, for people that don't know or might not have heard our videos before, one of the quickest wins when it comes to your page speed will be to ensure that all of your images are absolutely compressed to within an inch of their lives. It is an exercise in patience, but you'll be amazed at the wins that can be had there. So let's have a look at the first page. So this is a garden tech product page. So let's look at it in the context of ADA. So first and foremost, above the fold, what I'm looking for are 5 key elements, and that is the imagery, the headline, social proof, call to action, and trust proof. So happily, you actually have all of these things here, which is really nice to see. You've also got some great little additional trust icons across the top here. So the only thing I would say here is that this is obviously desktop, mobile is going to be slightly different. But the use of space here, it does feel very, very busy. I feel like probably want to see the imagery a little bit closer to the kind of middle, maybe a little bit more padding to the side. Just feels a little bit like we are utilizing every square inch of space. Don't be afraid of white space, essentially. But let's see some additional tweaks that can be done here. I think we've looked at the homepage here before. So love the product imagery. Lovely that we've got the thumbnails here. Nice that we've got a couple of reviews, sort of elongate it, we'll say like out of happy customers or something like that. Love the fact that you've got the in stock. What you're doing is very subtly implying that it could go out of stock. I would probably ramp this up slightly. So guys, scarcity comes in many forms, but for the sake of this, I'd just ramp it up a little bit. So, put something maybe like limited stock, or order now to avoid disappointment. You can use different colors. You can use green for in stock. You can have amber for limited, and red is obviously out of stock. So again, just think about ramping up the scarcity just a notch here. Like I say, I do like the fact that you've incorporated the trust icons. What we have here is a product description or product title, depending who you talk to, what you call it. And we get it for, Google Ads and things like that. It needs to be this title. But when it comes to conversion, what we want to do is also include either benefits or emotive language. Now, whether you do that in a sub headline or whether you are able to incorporate it into your headline is up to you. But, something emotive, something strong will always help to sell your product. Now, we have a saving here. It is a very minimal saving. Typically speaking, I would say display the monetary value. However, this is a very small saving, so maybe use a percentage or something like that, but make it clear how much, or the fact that people are saving some actual money. Everybody wants to know that. In terms of your content here, there's actually some quite nice content, but again, it's this where we're trying to fit everything in. I think we might have done a little too much content, if anything. So if we can just pull out like 3 or 5, probably in this instance, because you're doing your kind of cross sell here, probably just do 3 bullet points, pulling out on the key points. So let me just check the what you've got. So due to unique, each of the tanks individual piece of art, catch rainwater, high quality, makes it easy for you to install. Okay, so maybe think about just bolding out some of the keywords, and again, tweaking this content slightly. So the content is quite descriptive, quite features driven. I get it, right? It's garden tech, so people might not want to get overly emotive, but ultimately, this is, like you said, a stunning piece of art. I was going to say easy to install. Think about the kind of buzzwords and get those out there, or at the very least, just start bolding out the key words here. So then, obviously, we have these rainwater diverters. I'm not sure if I have to have one of these because of this, or is this just a straightforward upsell? Maybe you could think about making these slightly more attractive. Maybe there's some sort of saving if you go for the 2 or something like that. That's always worth looking at. We've obviously got a point system. Really like the fact that you've got your payment icons probably go a little bit larger just due to the size of your call to action here. And also, guys, now a lot of you are going to stare at the screen and say, no way, but please test utilizing emojis on your calls to action. They can absolutely increase your click-through rate by up to 40%, no joke. The other thing, we've got social proof, that's fine. So I don't think you need to squeeze in a review up here, otherwise it's going to get way, way too busy. So overall, not really many tweaks here. It's more content tweaks than element tweaks, if that makes sense. So as we go down, we've then, let me just check what we've got. Okay, so we've got this kind of tab format, which obviously you see on a lot of themes. What I would suggest is that if you have the ability, is to pull a lot of this content out onto the page itself, and especially the reviews, but I'll come to that in just a moment. And something else you might want to consider is something called a process step. So it is literally what it says on the tin. So you'd go number 1, little icon, number 1, order your product. Number 2, little icon, we'll get it to you in such and such a time. Number 3, you'll benefit from having this lovely, piece of art in your garden / product, water butt. So just pull out on the key benefit. Now, when it comes to your description and things like that, again, don't be afraid to just bold out the keywords. Don't be afraid to get a little bit emotive in your language, talk about any benefits of the product, the simplicity, ease of installation, anything like that. Make sure you're bolding out that key content. You can also utilize, even if you just utilize like the little check marks to incorporate a little color into these things, it's not a bad thing. Now, we would go down. So here, this is essentially your interest section, and this is where you're giving me all of this content. So we go attention, interest, then we really would want to go desire. So ideally, I'd rather see the review section out on the page itself. Now, something, guys, you can do with your product pages, for those of you that don't have specific reviews for specific products yet, is 2 things. So firstly, you have essentially like a hard-coded section with a minimum of 3 reviews on the page. Now, they need to include some authentic imagery, the star rating, their review, and of course their name. And then underneath that, you can have your review app, obviously, which is then going to start generating those reviews for each individual product. But it's really important that you get that section out on the page, really visible for the consumer to see. Now, you've got your related products here. Totally understand that. Ultimately, it is a store, so we would expect to see this. I personally would go in with an FAQ section here before we hit these related products. Now, when you've got stores with multiple SKUs, different things going on, typically speaking, those FAQs are going to be quite generic. So it's going to be about fulfillment, returns, that kind of thing. But ask your consumer is the best way to figure it out. But try and get them on the page itself. Now, the reason for that is if somebody gets down here, then, they're looking for something. And we just want to make sure we're addressing any of the barriers to entry. And then what we want to do is make sure that we're actually giving people an opportunity to purchase what we came here for, which is, of course, this particular product. Now, there aren't repeat CTAs in here because as it stands, this page is quite short. I personally would have had one here. Then I would have the review section, then I would have my FAQs, and I'd make sure I'd have repeating CTAs as we go through. But at the very least on this page, if you don't change this kind of tab format, incorporate some kind of more colorful kind of design elements into these parts, bold out keywords, and get yourself a repeat CTA here and a repeat CTA here. And your calls to action just need to be backed up with those supporting buffers. Now, supporting buffers are those payment icons, and of course, your star rating as well. So let's go on to the next page, and we're just going to have a little look and see how quickly this one is loading. Okay. So Built With is a great tool, guys. If you see somebody's site that you think, wow, I really like what they've done, how have they done that? Then this is a great tool because not only will it tell you kind of what's on there, but you can actually dig a little deeper and it will start to go into, what kind of apps are being used? What are these guys using? So if you want to emulate something, it's a good way to spy on your competitors, but also, it might help you in terms of ideas of what you might need if you have a similar kind of product or anything like that. So it's a very, very powerful little tool. Okay, so this is 3.88. That is a little too heavy. Shopify can be quite slow to load. But absolutely it can be optimized, and definitely we can get a little quicker on here. So again, first thing is always going to be to check out those images. So let's have a little look at this page. So we've got a phone case. Okay, that's an interesting layout. Some upsells. What's that? Reviews. Okay, so there's some quite cool stuff in here. I think more it's potentially some layout tweaks here. So again, we want that AIDA principle, but love some of the stuff we've got here. We've got some reviews, we've got we've got some frequently asked questions going on. So looks like we've got some good stuff here. So let's actually go through the page. And see what we can implement. So, hero section. First things first, we are looking again for those 5 key elements. So we've got the imagery. I'm looking for a headline. We've got some social proof here. We've got the call to action almost within the fold. I think we could probably bring that up to get that in. Scarcity. So we've got some good stuff here. The layout is a little theme is a little weird because obviously it's kind of pushing us down one side and the other. But with your toolbar, free shipping on iPhone purchase, that's cool. Toolbars, guys, in general, you want to utilize those for call outs, for any promotions, anything that's really going to grab your consumers' attention. I like the fact that you've got a search bar. Again, it very much depends on, I guess, how many kind of different products you have. The ability to search is a good thing when you have a real wide kind of variation of products. If you have less SKUs, less things to search from, then typically speaking, go with the kind of smaller one. But if you've got lots and lots of SKUs, I totally understand why you have the larger icon. So in terms of the thumbnails, the imagery looks good. The headline is not strong enough at all. Sorry, it's not an iPhone case, it is actually an iPhone. So the I think we could get a little bit more emotive here. So there's that old example that Oliver, if you haven't seen his videos, check him out, always says. So basically, with a phone, what you want to think about is the emotive context of a phone. So is it that, this phone's going to take beautiful pictures of your family and keep them safe forever? That there's key things that you can pull out here related to phones, which are more emotive than literally just giving us this is an iPhone 8, right? So definitely think about incorporating a headline here. Obviously, we want to know these key details in terms of color, pricing, all of this stuff. So I totally understand why we've got that here. But I think you could do a much stronger job in terms of a value proposition, a headline, and actually selling this product a little over on the hero section. The call to action does stand out from the crowd. You do need to incorporate some trust icons here. Now that's going to be, again, those payment icons, especially this kind of price point. You really want to make sure that trust is a key element on your pages. It's absolutely important no matter what, but as soon as you start, with this ever so slightly higher ticket price, you really want to make sure that you're ramming home that trust. So you also might want to utilize some similar trust icons to what these guys did, so that we've got this pay secure, shipping, all of this kind of stuff. That would be really beneficial for a page or a product like this. Love the fact that we've got save 25%, show us the monetary value that we are saving. And again, reviews, pull out on these reviews, go a little bit more emotive, for super happy customers, always keeping everything as emotive as we can. So over this side, really, the key thing is going to be the headline here, potentially a little bit of content, definitely some trust icons. The add to cart button is almost invisible. This is pointless. So you want to make sure that the buy now stands out more, which it does, but I'd probably have that here. Add to cart, put as a secondary color, but you need to make it visible because at the moment, this just looks like it's broken. So yes, a less obvious color, but it still needs to be obvious that there is an action for that consumer to take. This is obviously a bundling app. Now, bundling apps can be a little bit unattractive. There's definitely sexier ways of displaying this, but I do appreciate that you are trying to bundle, which first and foremost is fantastic. But again, there's definitely different ways this can be displayed. Now, this is interesting because you have over this side these kind of trust icons, but it's all very disjointed. Ideally, we want this attention, give us the imagery, give us the key content, give us the trust. Okay. Then we go down into that kind of content section. These shouldn't really be a standalone just below the hero section. These should be associated with your calls to action. I mean, I'm really happy to see you've got them, but again, that trust, they just need to be located in the correct way. Now, obviously, we've got lots of content about the iPhone. We've got the front camera. We've got the stereo sound. Again, you can get creative here, guys. You can say, save your memories forever. Immerse yourself in great sound quality. So don't be afraid on these tech products to get emotive. It can absolutely help to sell your products. We then go down. This is obviously the interest. I don't think it necessarily translates perfectly. How are the pre-owned iPhones? I'm not sure that makes sense to me. This is how you will receive it. So we got a little video here, a little demo. Another kind of payment method. See, again, you've got all of these elements. So you've got the key elements, you've got trust, you've got social proof, you've got all of this stuff. It's just that it's all kind of bundled together in what feels a little random way. I feel like if you guys just kind of maybe simplified it, structured it a little clearer, it might be easier for the consumer to kind of get their head around. Now, again, I don't think this is translating properly, so I'm not going to pull out too much on the content because I'll probably just set myself up to be a bit of a moron. We then go down into some reviews, into some kind of cross sells, social proof. This is your FAQ. So again, it's content, it's layout with this page. Videos are fantastic, especially for this kind of product. People love to watch these videos. So I'm really pleased to see you've got all this content. It's just a little bit confusing to the eye. So I think a streamline. Go back to hero section, 5 key elements, upsell, love it. Then go into your contents, that's your description, your videos, all of that cool information. Okay. Then go into a social proof section. Now, what we have here are essentially 3, I think, payment. Yeah, so we've got 3 different sections. Now, these are great. These look like authentic images. You've got a video. This is the kind of stuff you really want to convert. So what I would do is just have this. So we've got one clear review section. Now, that's not to say you can't dot reviews around here and there, but I think for this page to really push the needle, we just need to follow that flow a little clearer. So again, attention, interest, which is content, desire, into that social proof. Then grab an FAQ. You've got your FAQ, so it's just a case of reordering slightly, potentially pulling these up. After this FAQ, what it would be really nice to see is a repeat call to action to actually purchase this iPhone. So I appreciate there's quite a lot here. This is not necessarily a content issue. This is more of a layout and flow, which would be really beneficial to the consumer if you could kind of rework this ever so slightly. I do like the fact that you are pushing scarcity, though. It's nice to see. Countdown timers absolutely can work. A good place to have those is actually on your checkout or your cart. This is reserved for a certain amount of minutes. They still absolutely have their place. But like I said, some great content. We just need to condense it into more not logical, because it is logical, but some potentially an easier flow for the consumer. So let's drop this one in. Look like fashion of some degree. Okay, can't believe I'm already halfway through. So again, guys, for anyone that's new to our channel, and if you're not a member of our Facebook group, make sure you click the link underneath this video and ask to join. It's completely free. And of course, if you're joining us from the community right now, then make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Oh, we've got a good performance grade, which is very surprising because we have a very high load speed. So this is, before even looking at anything else, I sincerely suggest that you have a look at this because this will be hurting your conversion rate. Okay. you've got a good grade, which is a little bit of a surprise, although to be fair, sometimes they can be, not so accurate. But this is going to be an issue. So whether you have a look at the imagery, whether you speak to your kind of dev guys, I would definitely take a look at that. What have we got here? This looks like a Shopify site. I love Shopify, so user friendly. And let's have a look. Yeah, so this was the men's cardigan. Actually looks like a really, really nice product. So the first thing to say is very, very clean branding that you have here. Very, very pretty. Let's just have a proper look. What's really nice to see here, in all honesty, is very often with fashion wear, we see very, very what I'd call light product pages, lacking in content. What's really nice to see here is you guys actually do have some what looks like quite cool content. I love the way you're paying some respect, obviously, to the Queen. I think that's actually really, really cool. And guys, that's the beauty of a toolbar. It's that you can utilize this to, call out anything, just like here. It's reacting to what's going on in the world around, and actually incorporating that and keep updating your sites accordingly. So obviously, I'm looking on desktop. Now, guys, we talk about the 5 critical elements above the fold, and we are talking about desktop. Just for those of you that are thinking, well, what about mobile? Well, the principles remain exactly the same. The one thing I would say is that within a mobile, you would expect to see 3 of those elements above the fold, and the remaining 2 within a scroll and a half, right? So what they would be the imagery, the headline, and the social proof above the fold on mobile. And then the call to action and trust can come within that next half a scroll. But on desktop, we would expect to see all 5 of those elements above the fold. So in terms of imagery and utilizing the space, I would potentially make these images ever so slightly smaller, believe it or not, just so that we feel like we don't have to scroll. I almost feel like I'm missing something because I'm not getting to see the bottom of this image. Might sound silly, but it makes me feel like I need to wander around and have a look. But very nice imagery. It clearly shows the product well. Again, we have a description here. The branding is obviously very, very strong. We have the pricing. Good to see that you've got ClearPay. Call to action, some social proof. We are lacking any form of trust here. Now, again, that's going to come in the form of those cool payment icons. So make sure you get those up there. And the other thing, which you're probably not going to like, but it's call to action colors. Now, I totally understand that we have branding. You want to be consistent with your branding, keep it all tight. I get it. But the whole point is conversion also, right? So at the end of the day, it's the numbers that really talk. So what we want to do is make sure that we are using a color that stands out from your color palette. Now, if I could get everyone to do it lime green, I probably would. But I'm not suggesting that. What I am suggesting that it's just something that contrasts. Now, for example, purple is associated with luxury goods. It would absolutely stand out from the crowd. So do consider a stronger colored call to action here. I like your little fitting chart. I think that's great. We just need to get those payment icons in here. There is no headline. And again, with fashion, people always say, oh, it's so difficult with fashion. It is, but it isn't. Ultimately, depending on your brand, it's going to be that this is, stylish, or that it's durable, or that it's comfortable, depending on who you're kind of targeting and what you're doing. So there are ways to incorporate that above the fold. Love the Trustpilot stars. I would actually show the 4.8 Trustpilot stars. And guys, you've got enough real estate, so I'd actually get yourselves a review in here as well. Now, as we go down, you should be starting to pique my interest. And here you do that with your imagery and some content. I would suggest for this site that you do now, rather than go into this, go into a process step. So 1, choose your garment. 2, we'll get it to you in such and such. 3, you'll benefit from, having this super stylish piece, right? It would fit very well with this particular site. And I think the way that you're utilizing icons and design, you'll be able to do that just great. So the image is very, very clear. Again, it's spacing. It's nice to see that you absolutely actually have some content. And I'm just having a quick look. Truly retro, 50s vintage. It's very, very very, very cool, very now. Obviously, it's quite a target market, but these are the kind of words you just want to be bolding out some of these key things to really draw the consumer's attention. I would have a repeat call to action here, giving me the opportunity to purchase this. Very often, in fact, most often, that's what's missing on many product pages is the opportunity, bar that point at the top, to actually purchase the product that we came here for. So obviously we've got to complete your outfit. That's absolutely great. The one thing I would say is make sure that you associate the star rating with each of these products so that people can clearly see that that's going on. We then go into some content. Again, probably switch this around. I'm not saying you have to rigidly follow this. It can only be attention, content, desire. But when there's a certain amount of content, it kind of makes sense to keep it together, and at the same time, you're just repeating some calls to action, making sure that you're backing it up with supporting buffers. But nice to see that you've got some content here, which is very, very cool. You then go down into your collections, which again is fine. It's a store. Same thing for you guys. We're missing an FAQ section on here, and we're missing a final call to action. So really cool. I think the key thing is going to be a couple of tweaks to some trust and things at the hero section, incorporating your FAQs, those additional calls to action, and indeed a process step on this one as well. But overall, a very nice, very pretty site, and definitely have a little look at the speed on this one. So let's go into the last page. So obviously something to do with number plates, and let's drop this in. And let's see what this is doing. So 2.92, again, not horrendous, not amazing. Definitely some things that can be done. And let's see what this is built with. I'm quite curious. Okay, so another Shopify. Shopify is definitely ruling the way today. So let's have a look at this homepage. Okay. So again, every page obviously has a slightly different purpose. Obviously, we've covered a few product pages, and obviously it's all about the sell. Now, a homepage more typically is obviously about driving us further into the site and making sure you're getting across, your key messaging and all those cool things. So again, they still follow the AIDA principle. Obviously, there's some slight differences within the actual optimizations, but absolutely, they still follow those same rules. So let's start with the hero section. I'm still looking for 5 elements. I'm still looking at your imagery. Well, obviously the imagery is relevant, which is cool. I'm looking for a value proposition, which I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing a headline here at all. I'll come to that in a moment. We definitely need a much stronger call to action. I can see some social proof, which is fab, but we need to ramp up the trust. So, few things that can be done on this hero section. I love the fact you've got free delivery, utilizing an emoji, money back guarantee. So you're trying to convey that trust here, which is great. Again, consider having almost like a faux banner. So you can kind of left align your logo. You could potentially decrease the depth of this, but essentially you have what looks like a fake banner, and across the top of there you have those cool, there we go. So you'll have some little icons. Now I'm not saying it has to look exactly like this, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to kind of say in terms of displaying those trust icons. Now, the cool thing is if you put them within your banner, obviously when you go through to a product page, collections page, they're always going to be there when you land. So instantly you have that trust available to you. Now, the main thing I would say is that I get it. You know, I'm looking at it. I do understand this is for, number plates, license plates. Totally get that. But we need a value proposition. We need a headline. You need something that says, we got whether it's the coolest number plates, the best number plates, the most trustworthy number plates, pull out on your key point and give us a headline, a value proposition, which tells us what this site is about. These are great. These are trust icons, 14-day money back guarantee, delivery. In fact, I absolutely just missed the fact that they were trust icons because I was reading as opposed to looking at what they were. So these are just located in the wrong place, basically. So what we need to do is just make them smaller, put them neater, and get them across the top. And what's needed here in its place is that nice, strong value proposition. Then I would incorporate your star rating underneath your value proposition. The call to action, I definitely have a much stronger in terms of color. It needs to stand out. You could actually go for that lime green right here, but we want something nice and vibrant. And again, definitely consider utilizing an emoji on here. Now, you've got your social proof here. Trust index is really good. I love the fact that you've got reviews, but I wonder if I saw... Yeah, so you've got DVLA here, which is obviously a big trust thing, right? So I would consider getting DVLA up here somewhere more prominent rather than having it buried down in your footer, because that's a big trust icon, right? So love the fact that we got some reviews. Again, I think, a slight reordering potentially of content, but it's good to see that you've got these. The key things up here are going to be those trust icons, relocation, value proposition, stronger colored call to action, star rating, and getting that DVLA up here as well. Now, as we go down, you start to give us what we'd call your interest sections. This is where you're going to tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, go into those kind of best-selling products, that kind of thing. But this page just suddenly disappears into just some products, right? It doesn't really talk to me too much about who you are, what you do. So I think maybe some content. I'm not suggesting you over elongate this page, but maybe just a little area with some content about even how this works for people. You can utilize process steps on your homepage. But I think we just need a little bit more content about the brand, about what this is, about what I'm going to get, and incorporate that onto your homepage. Now, as we go down, we've got UK road legal number plate styles, road legal. Our collection is road legal. The way that this is presented, obviously, we're utilizing all of the space from left to right. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it feels disjointed. Like the headline is sort of not central, but not left aligned. It just all feels a little bit, please don't think me rude, but a little bit messy. So consider centralizing your headline. And just making that a little bit sharper. Now, a bit of an odd one, but you've got lots of reviews, so make sure that you incorporate a star rating with each of these products, and your calls to action, again, make them stand out that little bit more. You can go into collections, but I think obviously going into the products kind of makes sense here. Make sure you have a chevron at the side of these, just so it's super obvious to the consumer what is expected of them. And then I'd probably have a shop all here and push them in. Again, back it up with some supporting buffers. So here, that would actually be payment icons with star rating. We then go into show plates. Again, the way that this is presented, so that we're only utilizing the left, it just makes it look less polished than it could do. So, try and centrally align when you're not utilizing all this space, and keep it nice and tidy. And then we're missing sections, or not missing, we are missing, and we're in a slightly different reorder. So On your hero section, get your star rating up here. If you want to, get yourself a review up here. Relocate your review section so that it comes after your content. Make a big deal of it. Give it a big headline. See what our super happy plate owners are saying. Make a real section out of that. Then have a repeat call to action. Definitely get yourself some FAQs on this page. This is the kind of product where we're going to have questions. Now, it's going to be questions that you no doubt answer on a product page or somewhere else. But what we want to do is just make sure we're covering them immediately on here. It's going to be about, are they legal? Does it fit any car? So just make sure you're getting those on the page. I think that would be very beneficial. And then at the end, again, we go in with a call to action. Now, I know you've got a view FAQ here, as did other pages had FAQs down in those little links and banners. But we still recommend that you get those out onto the page themselves, because they're just a great way of helping your consumer to make a decision. Now, the least friction we can give them in that journey. So if we're addressing everything straight away and they don't have to dig around, the more likely they are to take that next action, which is to go further in, and explore and hopefully make that purchase as well. So anyway, guys, I have chatted to you for absolutely ages. Of course, if you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook or on Messenger. I really enjoyed looking at your pages today, and I will see you on the next session.